Okay. Hello.
Hello, April.
Hello.
Hello. Thank you very much for joining us for the Life After Lockdown series. I wonder if you can start by telling us what it is you do in the context of your working life, and how, if at all, it's been affected by the lockdown.
Yeah, so I share dōTERRA essential oils and products. So it's the holistic and alternative kind of approach to our health and well-being. Lockdown has actually affected a lot of what I did. I had a lot of fairs and events booked, and that's initially how I would go out and meet people and introduce them, and then follow that up and teach and, you know, just coach people through getting them into their lives. And initially I had at least 5 of those fairs just cancelled straight off the mark. So for me, it kind of slowed down my business. A lot of people that I work with, it did the same for them. So it just made us shift what we did and how we did it. And we've taken a lot of things online. So our team as a whole, we've been doing online education. So definitely for the first class that you would ever go to, but also then we've taken the opportunity and done a lot of the further education, so different topics. So we've been able to invite a lot of people that are already at home, which is useful. People aren't too busy to be able to attend those classes, and a lot of those people do have oils, yes, but then it's given them an opportunity to explore them a little bit more within their household. So in one sense it's slowed us down, but then it's also opened up a lot of opportunities we probably wouldn't have stopped to do as well as we've done as a team, I mean individually. The other way, I suppose, it's made us all get a little bit more inventive with, you know, how we're going to contact new people. Networking online's become a big thing, and everybody's doing it, so it's quite nice because it's not just about us then going in, it's about us listening to others and then being able to support other people that are doing the same. And I've met a few people that we've done that, so being able to help each other via meeting online. So yeah, it's made us get a little bit, you know, inventive, creative, I suppose is the word, yeah, and creative with what we do and how we approach the situation.
Have you found that itself challenging, or have you found that kind of quite rewarding in terms of like redoing how you do things?
Twofold, both of that. I've found it quite challenging. So at home I've got 2 children with cystic fibrosis, so they initially went onto the shielding list. We were told, lock your doors, don't let anyone in. So from having, you know, carers come in and, you know, we have a clean that comes twice a week, we suddenly had at least 25 hours taken away from us that we would get extra support with, because wow, my oldest has also got special needs. And so physically it's just a lot. My youngest, there's 10 years between them, so they're quite similar physically. So for us as a house, we've had to really put all our time and effort into that. But I've also then had on this side that I really want to keep doing what I'm doing in dōTERRA and participate. So it has been rewarding, definitely, and I've tried to put it into our daily lives as, you know, where it's not going to be too awkward with leaving Jonathan with the children, but also really aware that I've probably done the least because of what's going on around here, because you know, it is what it is and you have to do what the children need. So
yeah. So are you willing to say a little bit about how it's actually been rather more on a personal level then, because you are without shadow of a doubt the person who's been most affected by the lockdown that we've talked to?
Yeah, so it's definitely been challenging. Actually, interestingly, the most challenge that I've really come up against is watching how it's affected my oldest. Right. So for me personally, I'm okay with stepping back from interactions with people. I'm okay with my own time. I've always really loved my own time, and, you know, lockdown without a family would have suited me to a T. Absolutely, not gonna lie.
Yeah, we kind of get that.
Lauren's the exact opposite. She feeds off interaction with others, hugging people, having her people come in. She needs more than us, and, you know, we all have bubbles, don't we, outside of our family that we rely on, that become family, and Lauren's really made those relationships. And so for her, she's little to no understanding. You know, we can say to her, it's so you don't get poorly, but really that's not a good enough reason to her. And she's gotten cross, she's gotten angry, she's withdrawn. It's probably the first time seen her mental health affected in the way that it has been. She's quite subdued compared to what she was. And even though this week we let carers back in, so she's had 2 of her carers come back in, it's still, she's not quite, or like it's a bit, are they coming back, are they not coming back, confusion that we still don't know how to deal with, if I'm completely honest. You know, with all the help that we do have and all of the holistic things that we do, there's still a huge gap, and that's really difficult as a mum watching that. Jonathan's also been working from home, so that's a challenge in itself. It's kept him busy. Routine's good. I did have the middle chunk of this time off because he had to just put hands on with the children with us. But his work have been incredible with him. So he's back. He takes over my bedroom and his desk and his, you know, working environment, which is fine. So yeah, it's been an incredible challenge. It really has, and it's not one I'd like to repeat.
No, I can well imagine, definitely. Are there any aspects of lockdown, either from in context of the work you do or otherwise, that you like enough to want to continue with?
Yeah, there's plenty actually. I'll probably do more online than I did before. Jonathan and I have spoken about, at least during the holidays and like chunks of time, if he can then discuss with his work being able to work at home, because what we've found is normally by the time he's gotten home, children are headed to bed. But now when he finishes work, he's able to come down, enjoy, you know, tea time with us all. He's able to come and have his lunch with us, and the children have really responded to that and really loved having him around. And for the sake of, you know, a good 3 hours travelling time a day, if he can sit at home and do a lot of that work, then the more he can do that, then he's definitely opening that conversation up with work to continue.
Right.
And what I found is it's actually been a better scenario than summer holidays for me, which is a really weird thing to say, but I'm usually at home with a tiny little boy and a disabled child. One's in a pram, one's in a wheelchair. So unless I get help, we're stuck in our house, basically. Yeah. But what's happened here is our bishop at church has given us exclusive use of the chapel. And so we've been able to go out every day during Jonathan's lunchtime, extended it slightly, get them exercise. When it's been sunny, we've sat on the grass outside. Wyatt's played in the grass, looking at flowers. Like, he loves to be outside. And he's a lot like me, actually. He's taken to this totally fine. He's not really fussed about missing everybody else. As long as he's outside every day, you know, points to the door, car, like, it's time to go. So for us, it's been a real, like, eye-opener of what that means to have Jonathan here and involved a little bit more. And yeah, the outside thing, we've made it a habit almost. Like, it's they expect it. We're going to do it, so there's a break in the day. And so for us, outside is definitely going to be something that we did anyway, but we're definitely going to increase the amount of times that we go outside and do it daily, because I think it's good for your mental health as well.
It certainly is.
It's been phenomenal.
Yeah, you're quite a spiritual person, and you know, one of the things you were saying there about it helping you to reconnect with nature, going outside. Has it also helped you to reconnect on a larger sense with any other kind of things?
I think the first thing that I noticed from all of this was when church was stopped, it didn't bother me. And I don't mean that I want to stop going to church, because I will return when church returns and it's safe to do so with the children. But for me, it just made sense that we live what we believe, and so that's okay. We're still very secure in that, and as a family can keep, you know, reading and doing little lessons at home and teaching the children what we want them to know. And for us, you know, that's really our religion, isn't it? If it's not inside of us, no matter what that spirituality is across the board, if you're not living it every day, it doesn't really matter. A Sunday church, you know, a Friday mosque or a synagogue or a temple, it doesn't matter that they're there. That's a bonus. And being able to associate with others is a bonus, because it really should be whatever we're believing, and we should be living it. And that was a real, almost an instant thing that I came to realise and was just grateful for throughout it.
Yeah.
That's really nice.
Yeah, super. Yeah. Do you have any particular hopes for the future? And I tend to ask this question to be as open as you want it to be. So on a personal level, working globally, what are the things that you hope will come as a result of this? Because it's been a profound experience for not just Britain, but for obviously the whole of the world, and especially the Western world that's been hit the most.
Yeah, so I say it a little bit like it's almost never going to happen, but I would hope that people would look more at whether, you know, they need to be in cars every day going to work. I would hope it was really nice being on the roads and, you know, walks that we've taken and not having to worry about crossing the road because there just isn't any traffic around it. It's amazing.
Yeah.
So I would hope that people would look at that. I hope in some of the industries it's looked at. Jonathan does go on public transport, but they're incredibly, you know, they're overpopulated and sometimes he would miss his train home for that reason. I would hope people would look at their life and whether or not they can be productive without travelling and putting, you know, their stamp on ruining the world, to put it lightly. I think it's a massive thing, and I think there are a lot of people that are already recognising that, but I do fear that most will go back to normal. But my hope is they won't. That's what I would hope. On a business side of things, I hope people do start turning to natural medicines and holistic help, especially for mental health and, you know, emotional well-being. And I think there's a massive value to that. I also hope that people start to respect the NHS a little bit more. You know, we've always been super grateful for them and what they've done for the children, and it didn't change our view of this. This was just we already love them. We know what they do for our children. We've seen them in situations where it's been, you know, really tough with Lauren, and, you know, they go above and beyond. And I hope people start to recognise it's a massive thing that we've got the NHS, and, you know, be grateful for that. And on a more personal level, yeah, just to reiterate what I was saying before, more time with the family, more time with Jonathan here, rejig things a little. And I guess one of the things that I learned quite quickly as well is I don't really slow down as much as I should, and I take on an awful lot, and I'm happy to do that. I like to work. I'm a bit of a workaholic and I like to be busy, but I also have taken a little bit more time for me and, you know, said no to things. It's too much. I need to focus on this. And I think if I can just go forward with that, you know, open mind of, is that going to affect me? Do I really need to do it? And start to analyse things a little bit better, then for my own mental health and well-being, I think I'll probably do a little bit better.
Yeah, yeah, that makes absolute sense. Yeah. If people want to get in contact with you, what's the best way of doing that? What's the favoured address that you would use?
Email address, or are you thinking social media?
I was thinking more social media, but it's up to you.
Yeah, social media is good. So on Facebook, I'm Oils with April Rose Birch.
Okay.
And on Instagram, it's just April Rose Birch. So
okay.
Full name.
Yeah.
So they're the places to follow along and see what we do and what we offer and how we can help.
Yeah, that's excellent. Is there anything you wanted to ask before we?
No, I think that's fine. I think what we'll do is we'll finish the recording, and then if you stay online, we can just round off
a little more informally.
Definitely.
Thank you very much for that.
Yes, thank you.
Thank you.